Well, I'm the executive producer, so I oversee all of our shows, all of the, we have a master rundown. Every show starts, they don't start like just from a blank script, they have a master rundown. So I'm responsible for having built all of those and tweaking them from time to time, because there's different things that we want to try to accomplish with our shows, and it's not just about putting the news out. Now, ratings are a big part of what we do, because that drives ad revenue, which is, the better ratings you have, the more ad revenue you can charge, the more money your station gets, which just kind of keeps the whole wheel spinning. But there are things that we have to do to, kind of massage a newscast so that we're hitting the marks that we want, so that we're keeping the audience there and not turning away to somebody else. So you're always kind of like fussing with those and tweaking and finding the right thing that works. The big projects, elections, unfortunately when people at high-ranking places at the university are let go, we have like live and breaking coverage, and I generally coordinate all that. When we have tornadoes, weather events, if I'm not in the booth, I'm kind of overseeing what's being done, because that's a big live TV is, for me, it's the funnest part of the gig, but it's also the hardest. It takes the most preparation, and that's one thing I try to do by example, is over-prepare, and not over-prepare, but like a guy like Peyton Manning, he was never going to get by on just his athletic ability alone. He had to outthink, outwork, and outprepare, and those things you have control over. I don't really have control over how much talent I have as a broadcaster, but I have control over how many hours I put in, how much attention I pay to detail, how far I'm willing to go to get it done. Those are all things within my control. And those are things I tell my young producers, all that stuff, that's all in your hands. You can control all of that. The talent stuff, you can't worry about that. You can just work to the absolute level of, what you're capable of. And, everybody's capable of more than what they probably think they are. Yeah, it's about preparation, so that like when that moment comes, like I've covered 4 Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs. I covered them winning the championship 4 times, and each time got progressively easier because I knew and I'd learned, and I'd continue to prepare, so that when those moments finally happened, then it's just fun. Because the stuff in the booth, while it's stressful and it's a high wire act, it should be fun because you've done all the prep work. So that's a lot of what I try to get across to my younger producers and reporters, is constantly be preparing. And then also, I have a level of experience that most of our folks don't have in terms of editing and putting a polish on things and putting layers of production value is what I call it. We have a lot of kids, a lot of youngsters. This is their first job, and they have great ideas and good intentions, and they have big dreams, but often they don't really know how to get from A to Z, because there's a lot of points in between. And so my job then is kind of like help them realize, what their vision for a project is. And so that often means, I'll hop in the editing seat and I'll kind of like, okay, let's add music here, let's write this, let's put in a natch break here, let's hear some of the natural sound there, or some of the conversation between the people in your story. These are things that I don't think people really think about until they get deep into that layer of editing and storytelling. So a lot of it is just working constantly with reporters and producers and trying to improve them as storytellers and show them, okay, because a lot of them, they're all going to go on from here. They're going to go to a bigger station, a bigger market, and so I want them to have the tools to not only serve us while they're here, but then make that step to the next place. We've had a lot of good troops here who have gone on to big gigs, like Nicole Griffin. She had come here, and she replaced me on the morning show when I got promoted as the producer, but she also wanted to be on air. And so she took everything that I was doing for the morning show, which I thought was a lot, and she did even more. But not only that, she then figured out how to cover her own, put her own news stories in there, like breaking news or feature stuff, and she'd be in her own show, which was like, wow, how do you even figure that one out? And she was so good at reporting that eventually we had to just move her to reporting full-time because we needed that resource, that talent. And then by the time she left here, and we're market 105, she jumped to, I think, market 25 in Indianapolis, which is her hometown. That's crazy to go from 105 to 25. And not only that, but she hit the ground running, and they've been in love with her since she got there because she's a hard worker and tireless. But I love being a part of that process and helping young people reach those kind of dreams. And not only, coaching is a good word because I coach speech at my old high school. And so, yeah, I kind of see myself in that role as a coach a lot of times. It can be tiring, it can be exhausting, but when it clicks for somebody, then it's pretty rewarding. Beautiful, good storytelling with, clean, plain language. We're not trying to bamboozle anybody. That's what I tell them. Be conversational, write conversational, and then, really good pictures. You have to shoot good video. You have to get good audio. And then I, encourage them to, we call it audio weaving. Not only use your track and your sound bites, but use the sound that's there available in the story, and let that piece breathe. A lot of times, almost all of them come out and everything is just jammed. There's soundbite, track, and there's like no room to breathe. And I constantly am showing them, look, let it breathe, let it breathe. I want to hear that truck going by. I want to hear that bag being crumpled up and tossed away. I want to hear that conversation between the coach and the quarterback. I want to hear and see those things. Let that breathe. Let us into their world because that's what a storyteller does. It doesn't just give you the information. It kind of takes you to where that story's happening. So that is what I try to really impart into them. To become a full storyteller, and that's use all the tools that we have to our avail to really make that an immersive piece.